You are now listening to the Lasting Legacy Podcast.
What's up, everybody? We're at another episode of the Lasting Legacy Podcast. Before we go in, be sure to go down below just a little bit here and hit the little subscribe button. It takes like 2 seconds, and if you hit the subscribe button, the next video, I'll show you a picture of my dog. So do that. Thank you. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Daniel Gutierrez. He is part owner of Greyscale Tattoo here in Pueblo, Colorado, and he's basically just killing the tattoo game. So we're going to chat with him about that.
Heck yeah, man. Welcome.
Yeah,
My name's David. Own David Took It, photography, videography. And we do, if you haven't checked out Daniel's Instagram feed, definitely go check it out. Links down below. But yeah, thanks for putting time for us in your schedule.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, we're super excited. I like having guests where we don't really know them beforehand, you know?
Yeah.
I think it makes it a little more authentic. And
yeah, because it's our first time meeting.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
it doesn't happen often.
Really
so far.
doesn't. Yeah.
Through 17 episodes, I think you're maybe the second or third one where we just met you 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So,
that's why I was kind of curious, and even how you guys came across me, or even
Instagram.
Yeah.
I was going to say the Street Champs thing, like I said, you tattoo my barber.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Word goes by quick in Pueblo.
Actually, we set up a list when we first had this idea, and it was who are influential people in town that we would love to have that are killing the game in their industry or whatever. And I think you were the first one I put on the list. I was I've never met him, but this dude's killing it. He's doing things bigger than the city, but stays in the city. There's nothing stopping you from moving, and you haven't done that. I don't know if it's in the works. I guess we'll find out. But
but it is. But.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So let's get into it, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
I'm Daniel Gutierrez. Born and raised here, and I've been tattooing now for almost 10 years, and about 5 years full time.
Nice.
I made the leap to go full time in 2017.
That's huge.
Yeah, the last day of my job, my 9-to-5 job that I had, was December 30th of 2016. We finally.
So it was a pretty important day.
Yeah,
you got it memorized.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I do, bro. Yeah, it was a big jump because I was there almost 11 years.
Where were you at?
It was called Advantage Logistics. It's a warehouse in Fountain. They do all the non-perishables for King Supers and Kroger.
Okay.
Sounds backbreaking.
Yeah. It was. I mean, I loved working there with I loved the guys that I worked with.
Yeah.
And all the friends that I made there, and it's just I hated the job.
Yeah.
I hated the job, hated the drive, hated being away for so long, and it just wasn't what I wanted to do with the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool when I started because I started when I was 20.
No, of course, yeah. You're not flipping burgers. You're chilling. I'm sure everyone's talking shit in that kind of environment.
Yeah. It's cool, hanging out with, like I said, with all the guys, and my father-in-law worked there. That's probably how I first heard of the place.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working with him for a little while, and then, it was cool because it's the first job that I had that had benefits and all the vacation time and
all the perks,
health insurance, all that stuff. And I was had a young family. Me and my wife, we had the day that I started there, my daughter had just turned 1.
Oh wow.
So it was nice having that job and that stability, and like I said, the insurance, all the benefits, all that stuff, early on.
Little stress reliever, I'm sure, having a 1-year-old kid to have those kind of benefits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then probably 10 years goes by and I start getting closer to 30, and I'm I seen all the guys that were there, when I started, they were in their 30s, now they're in their 40s. The guys that were in their 40s are now in their 50s.
Dang.
So you really get a perspective on everything. You're like, damn, I can't do this.
I'm not gonna live in here. Yeah, no, of course.
So then I started really thinking about doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
But before then, I think the warehouse for me was just supposed to be temporary because I was cutting hair.
Nice.
I was cutting hair.
On the side?
Yeah. Yeah. I started cutting hair when I was 15, just cutting mine and my brother's. Then I moved to, all my friends because they were like, where do you get your haircut from?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I just do it because we never had time.
Yeah.
Never had time to go to the barbershop. So I started doing mine, and then and then got into my stepdad's, and then his friends, and then any other little job that I had, I worked. I'd meet dudes there, and they find out I cut hair. I started cutting them.
The wildfire goes crazy.
So I started having a pretty decent client. I had a decent clientele when I was like a senior in high school.
That's awesome.
Damn.
So you're used to quick cash too. Like, so I mean, I'm sure that was always like a side hustle until until it isn't. But I mean, having that cash in your pocket, that walk around money is what I like to call it. That's different. If you're used to that, and then you go to a 9 to 5, and you're like, oh man, I gotta wait 2 weeks or sometimes a month to get paid. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's huge. So, how long were you cutting hair, and do you still cut hair?
No, I don't. I don't cut hair at all anymore now.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we go to Jimmy Porterfield.
Oh, okay,
Steel City.
Heck
so shout out to him.
Big shout out.
Yeah.
Brother-in-law, what's up?
Yeah, I get a free cut for saying that.
Yeah, no,
I'm just kidding.
I was like,
Damn, JR didn't give me no free cut. I put him on. Come on, dude.
No, that's awesome. So you were cutting hair, still working at the warehouse, and then then what kind of changed everything?
Okay, so like the dream was to open my own shop, have my own barber shop, all that stuff, and a lot of my friends, they had always put that in my head because we'd be hanging out when I'd be cutting everybody's hair. Thursday, Friday would come around before the weekend, and I'd be everybody would be playing video games and smoking and drinking, and I'm cutting everybody up, and they're like, damn, how sick would it be if you had your own shop and you could do this, we could do this at your shop. And so you kind of had that idea. So they had that was seed that has been planted. And then let me see, then I went to the barber college with like I think I was working at Train, and then I got laid off. So while I was laid off, I was collecting unemployment. I was like, well, I'm gonna go do my hours at the barber college and do that. So then I started cutting, bringing my clients with me, and I was going to Marie's barber school. And so I had, like I said, I had a clientele already, so I didn't really have to I wasn't really learning from scratch. She just, her and her son Nate, they like honed my skills, and then Nate opened up his shop, and she was like, you can you go help him out at his shop, and you could finish your hours off over there, or and so that's kind of what got me into the professional setting, and that was really cool to go work with him over there. And
how long were you there with him cutting hair?
Oh shoot, I don't even know, because this is still part-time. I still have the job at the warehouse.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was going in on my days off, and
just working.
Yeah, because I was like I got to get out of the warehouse, but that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get my barber license, get a shop, and that's what I'm gonna do. And so just started doing that, and then after a while it just became habit, and then kind of like it was just kind of just drifting through it. Didn't really have like
no passion.
Timeline, nothing like that of when I was gonna quit, and none of that like that. I was just working there, making money. It's just routine.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, just on the grind of it.
Two 9 to 5 jobs now.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
No,
how did you go from barbering to tattooing? Like
I said, tattooing has always been in the background.
Okay.
It's always been there for me. We used to live in California when I was little. My stepdad was in the military out there. My uncle, he lived with us too. So both of them were going in and getting tattooed. And I was always fascinated by the tattoos that they would get. It was always like the Chicano black and gray fine line stuff. Yeah. The cholas with the peacocks.
Yeah,
shit like that. They were getting that, and I always loved that. And I've always been real passionate about drawing and artwork, and even my drawings that I did were always like pretty similar to tattoos, really.
Yeah.
And my grandma, she really instilled that art background in me, from a very young age.
That's awesome.
So, like I said, my uncle too, he was an artist too. So yeah, these guys, they like I said, they just pretty much laid the groundwork for my artwork, and then that's always been in the background. my friends, they'd be like, well, how come you don't tattoo? You should learn how to tattoo, you know? Everybody, like, putting that in your ear, you know, planting those seeds.
And they want a lot, your friends, huh?
Yeah,
Get a shop,
no,
cut my hair, give me tattoos.
They always thought highly of me.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
It's like
cool.
if you tattoo my head, you don't have to cut my hair.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, had a
No,
big-
if you have a tattooed head, I feel like you have to cut your hair more often.
yeah, I've always had a big support system, though.
No, it's huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, everybody's, you know, my family, friends have always believed in me and told, you know, pushed me to try to do this and do that. You know,
That's
like,
huge. Yeah. A lot of people don't have that.
Yeah,
a lot of people
like
are.
I'm blessed for having that forever.
Yeah.
You know, and being able to listen too. You got to be able to listen.
That's
you know,
huge.
Listen to people
absolutely
telling
huge.
you that.
Yeah.
You know, and okay, so anyway, we go back and yeah, everybody's throwing it in my ear. Yeah, you should tattoo this and that. You know, so one day, one of my friends, he came across a tattoo machine and all that, like a whole kit, and he's like, yeah, I always told you if you're ever gonna, you know, if you're ever gonna tattoo, I want you to tattoo me first, you know. So he came across
Dang.
that stuff first. So he came to my house and we did a couple little tattoos on him and his brother, and it kind of like put the bug in me, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that was sick, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a rush.
Yeah,
This is
it
for
was.
real. Yeah.
But then when they healed, they came out like shit, bro. Like,
So
I was-
how'd you learn to like set it all up? Like just
Oh.
YouTubing it, or
No,
or
no,
did you have
no.
someone to?
So then I ended up getting my own stuff. This guy came into the barber shop and he was selling the equipment, and he had like just, you know, a couple machines, needles, and like the foot pedal, all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, bro, like
Yeah.
let me get that off you. And then Nate's shop, it was kind of like a hood shop anyway, so people were, you know, they had some shitty tattoos on them already, so they seen my drawings, so they
Yeah.
were like eager for me to
get
to
into
get
it.
it.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, I'll let you tattoo me. You know, like I started on skin right away. I didn't have to go through like pig skin or fake skin or
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
like that. Like I had people.
Banana peel.
Yeah. I had people like willing to let me tattoo them right away,
Dang.
like right out the jump.
You're like, well, I can't do worse than what's already here, you know? Yeah.
I got a tattoo from one of my ex-girlfriends, and it was her first. She's been an art. She was an artist. She wanted a tattoo. She bought like a tattoo machine. And she was about to tattoo me, and we're like, we should try this on like a banana peel or something. So she did it on a banana peel, and like that needle was like way too far out. Like she was fucking just tearing up that banana peel. I was like, you better stick it up more there.
Oh, that day
So,
when he when he first brought him over, and I had another friend that showed me how to set everything up. So I kind of knew, and I've watched him tattoo
Enough,
before.
yeah.
Yeah, I knew a little bit how to set everything up. And you know, this is the very, very first time I've ever, you know, tattooed with the machine, and you know, on him. He comes in, I set everything all up, and then my hand's going like that, like, and
Oh
they were
my
like,
God.
"Is that the machine, or is that your hand?" You know, like,
Oh, shit.
yeah. And I was like, "Oh, you know," I put it all down. I told my wife to go. I was like, "Go to the liquor store and get us some like 18-pack or something real quick." So I put a couple beers in me, you know, and I felt like, you know, my nerves went away.
Yeah.
And then we did it, and kind of, you know, like I said, I thought they were good at the time.
Thought you
but-
knocked it out of the park.
yeah, seen him healed up, and I was like, oh, like maybe I can't do this, you know.
So they're looking good when you apply it. When
Yeah.
they're leaving, you're like, oh man, this is cool. Now, was it, you know, have anything to do with like your depth or your technique,
No,
or
it's
their
just
aftercare? Just
everything.
sucked?
Me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everything on me.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Like it was blotchy. The lines were shitty, shaky.
Yeah.
You know, you could tell where I put the needle in and came out. Like
That's
You know
crazy.
how like a
Yeah,
marker.
yeah.
You know when you push down on a marker and it leaves that little bleed out mark, and then like you make the line, and then you can see where you ended. You know, that kind of stuff. That's how it was. And yeah, but then I ended up getting my own kit and tried it a couple more times, and still I was good at drawing, or I thought I was good at drawing, but when I would tattoo, they wouldn't match my drawings, and it was just discouraging. You know, and so kind of would put it away and wouldn't mess with it for a little while, and then I'd keep going back to it, do a couple here and there, and they were always just small pieces. And then Nate ended up barbershop started going like downhill over there, and then at this time another guy had opened up a tattoo shop, and a lot of his clients were coming in and getting their hair cut. So I would see their fresh tattoos, and I was like, damn, who's this guy? Like, his work is sick, you know. And then my friend, that he would always hang out at the barbershop, his name was Little Dog. He would be like, he's like, yeah, you go meet these guys, bro. They'll show you what's up. He's another big one that was always like telling me, you know, putting it in my ear, you should tattoo, you know, this and that. So, and yeah, so he gave me the introduction. So I'm real grateful for him too. You know, he put me onto those guys at that shop, and I went down there and I started cutting the owner's hair. His name was Sign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Marmolejo?
Yeah,
nice. Okay. Yeah.
So I
he,
started.
he did my first tattoo.
Oh, did he?
So crazy. Yeah.
He's super dope, bro.
Absolutely.
And I gave him. Oh, I started cutting his hair and hanging out at that shop, and and then I hit him up. I was like, hey, can you apprentice me? And he already had another apprentice at the time, and it was another one of my friends, Javi Chavez. He was
another great guy.
Yeah. He was getting apprenticed by him at the time, so he was like, you could hit up one of the other guys, see if they will. So ended up getting my apprenticeship. First started with Will Jaramillo, who goes by Demise.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so he first kind of put me on. Me and Will, we had like history since like 5th grade, bro. Like my auntie used to go out with his dad, so we would hang out, and when we were kids, and he was always like the other artist at school.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
So there was always like this little competition between him and I.
That's awesome.
Like,
just to keep pushing each other.
Yeah. Like his pictures would be hanging out in the hallway in elementary school, and I'd be like, "Who's this guy?"
This stemmed from elementary school.
Yeah,
wow.
He was always good, and then like he started tattooing. I was like, damn, like he was another one. He's like, yeah, you should try it, bro. He's like, so like he was another person that was like kind of like in my ear about it. Yeah, then ended up getting my apprenticeship with him, and then phased out the barbershop, started my apprenticeship at Sign Shop, and that was in June of 2012. And there's no tattooing going on there for me. You just kind of learning around the shop, drawing, watching these guys breaking them down and setting them up, that kind of stuff. And then around October, they let me start tattooing in the shop, and I did my first piece in the shop. So that's what I count as my start date in tattooing, because once I did that first one in the shop, that's when I've never stopped since then.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's day one for me right there. All the other ones before that, they don't really count. And I've had maybe like a handful that I did. You know what I mean?
No, of course. Yeah, that's super awesome, man. It sounds like, was it the shop that was on Santa Fe? Yeah. No, I mean, the time that you were going through, the time that you were going through that apprenticeship, that was when in my senior year of high school, and I went in and got, my first tattoo by him. But there was a lot of talent in that shop. Yeah. Absolutely insane.
Yeah. So that's why I, wanted to surround myself with,
the best of the best, for sure. That's insane. So you start tattooing, in the shop, and then how is your progression looking?
Oh, okay. So, like I said, I was always in love with the Chicano style black and gray.
Absolutely.
I was always drawn to that since I was a little kid. The magazines that I would get, I would always like kind of flip through them, the tattoo magazines, and if they had that style in there, if they did like a showcase on somebody that was doing that, then I'd buy it. Like I didn't really care for the traditional, the color, the neo-traditional, the Japanese. Like I was like, that stuff's whack,
Yeah.
And then until I start tattooing and I find out how hard it is, then I'm like, oh shit, these guys that did those ones are sick as fuck too.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So then I have just a huge respect for all of tattooing, all styles, everything. So then I'm trying to do whatever, anything
that walks through the door.
Anything that I can do. I'm taking on big pieces that like I had no business even doing. Didn't know how to approach it. Didn't have like didn't know anything about composition, nothing like that. So like I was just trying it, and not really. I was doing okay. I feel like I'm pretty well rounded still to this day. Like I could pretty much do any style that I that somebody were to ask me of, like kind of like, but
you don't have to.
That's
the kicker.
Yeah. Like so. I kind of lost my train of thought there. So then I spent time just doing everything, and this is all. I still have my job at the warehouse, and so it's in my days off, and after work, I would go and do a quick little banger and try to make some money.
Yeah.
And so then end up drifting through that again, like I'm like, okay, now I want to be a tattoo artist, but still had no timeline, when I was going to quit my job, didn't have any goals set, nothing like that. Like it just started like, okay, now I'm tattooing and this is the side hustle,
Forget hair. I'm gonna just do this.
Still had no exit plan, nothing like that, so that goes on for a few more years. And then and then it started getting to the point, I started getting older. Like I told you, I was like, I can't work at this warehouse forever. I got to think of something else to do. I just wanted better quality of life. Like that warehouse started getting older, and I just had, I had my last child right before I turned 30, and that's when there's 3 kids and a wife, and I'm like, I was like, like I said, I wanted a better quality of life, and didn't want to grind all the time. It was like a grind. Like I had to start work at 6, but we'd leave Pueblo at like 4:45. And so I'm getting up when the kids are asleep and my whole family's asleep, and I'm coming home.
They're asleep again.
All asleep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I'm missing out on so much, bro. And it was just,
it's not worth it. That's not what life is about.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
It's hard to find that balance when you're trying to push a passion.
Yeah, I was just completely caught up in the slave mill, just chasing the dollar, and
of course
trying to make ends meet, all that shit. You know? And we were working like 12 hours a day. I'd end up getting home like around 7:30 or so, eat, shower, and then head to the tattoo shop and do a tattoo. Then by the time I'd get done there, it could be like, sometimes the latest I've stood there on a work day like that was like 1, 2 in the morning. Yeah. Turn around and wake up at 4,
Try to.
Yeah. So I'm doing that, and after so long of doing that, I did that for like 4 years, and then I was just like, I remember the day I was driving to the shop, and it was one of those days where I got off late, went home, ate, showered, kissed everybody hi and bye, and then went to the tattoo shop. And it wasn't even a piece that I was excited to do. It wasn't even, I was like,
just another,
I was just going over there to make the money, to keep trying to, like, I had no direction, really, and I was just down, completely down, and I was like, didn't want to quit tattooing, but I was like,
something.
Yeah, I knew I couldn't continue this way, and I was, so I was like, I started it started a habit that I still keep to this day. Like towards the end of the year, I would like start putting in, making up my list of the following year. Like, this is what I'm gonna do to make my life better, and
some goals, set the goals.
Yeah. So that's when I first started
vision board.
Started getting into that, and I've never been into like any of the motivational shit. Like I was always like, that shit's
dumb.
Corny.
No, for sure.
Like all the Tony Robbins.
Gary Vee shit.
I was like, oh, they're just doing that to to make
Pat
money
their
off
pockets,
you. That was my whole outlook on all that.
Exactly.
All that stuff. And then I put my like I said, I put my list together, and I was like, I'm gonna buy a house. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna take a family vacation. We're gonna do and I was in no position or like financially to buy a house at all. Like I had a 400 credit score. Didn't have no money saved. Owed all kinds. To creditors stuff. So this is probably like October, and then I started putting it out there, and I was like, I'm gonna then I got a hold of this guy that and I was like, hey, I'm in no. He was, what is it, the
mortgage lender?
Yeah. One of the lenders or something like that. Yeah, I got a hold of him. I was like, hey, I'm in no position right now. I gave him like where I was at, and I was like, I just want to know what I need to do to be able to buy a house, you know. And so, you know, he got me going on everything and told me, all right, you need to do this and this and this. So then I got going with that, and then by the beginning of 2016, he called me and he was like, hey, thanks for getting all that stuff together. He's like, I got you pre-approved. At the time, I was like, no way.
Yeah.
You know, like I was
like,
excited.
Cool,
about
60,000.
Yeah. It was low at first.
Yeah.
He put all the numbers in, and the funny thing about that is, so it. Okay, so my friend, he moved into this neighborhood where I'm at now, and he was like, I would pick him up when we were carpooling, you know, and I'd pass by this house. It was for sale. And I was like, man, I would like to buy that house, you know. And I'm like, that's the house I would like to get. And so that's kind of what kind of jumped me into, like, yeah, I'm going to buy a house, you know. And that's when I got a hold of that guy, put everything down, and he got us, you know, pre-approved. And then we started looking, and we're looking all over town, and ended up that house that had inspired me, price dropping in it, and we were able to get it.
No way. Yeah,
so
that's huge.
That's crazy.
So like, yeah, there's more to it, but
no,
it was
of course,
just like,
yeah.
that was the first time that I had ever manifested anything, and like
damn, these dudes aren't full of shit.
Yeah. So that's when, so that really got me fired up, bro. That got the ball rolling. I was like,
for
damn,
sure.
I was able to get this house. This is the one that I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, from the very beginning.
It's crazy how powerful it is to just write something down.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
I do a vision board every year with me and my wife, and we make like a whole night of it. And every year we review last year's, and sure as shit, like everything.
Yeah, you start marking stuff.
It's almost scary.
You know, I'm not like, we're not like making plans on like how to do it. We're like, this is what we want. Is it realistic? Somewhat. Yeah, I don't know, you know, but you put something down on paper and you see it and you visualize it and you really manifest it. You really believe it.
And that was the first time that I had ever did anything like that. And I was like, damn, this stuff really works.
Yeah.
You know, so then I was fired up. Then I started getting into all the motivational videos.
Oh, of course.
And, you know, everything. And I started getting into this channel. It's called Valuetainment. Have you heard of that one?
I don't think so.
No,
not
but,
that one.
His guy's name is Patrick Bet-David. But the videos that he was making was like it was motivating, and it was like kind of like how to. Too. So it wasn't like a lot of that motivational stuff. It's cool because it gets you all fired up, but then you're like, all right, now what do I do?
Yeah. What's the next step?
You got all this energy and know where to go.
Yeah. So like Eric Thomas, you listen to him?
No, not him.
Okay.
I was like strictly a Gary Vee guy for a minute.
Okay. Yeah.
But same shit. I mean, he kind of tells you, you know, like, all right, quit your 9-to-5, pursue your passion. You're young, you know, consolidate your debt, do X, Y, Z, and you're like, oh shit, okay, I could do that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
But like, that Patrick Bet-David, his channel was like, he'd talk about like how to network, how to market, and,
huge.
You know, all that stuff.
That's the important shit.
Yeah, and I had 30 minutes from, you know, Pueblo to Fountain every day where I could listen to in the car, and then on the way home. So a good hour every day where I could start and I'd start digesting all this material that he's putting out there, and so where are we at? We're in like 2016, and then the warehouse goes on strike that I was working at. So it's the first time that I've ever had to tattoo full time. You know, it kind of forced me to do it.
Yeah, you have no choice.
Yeah.
Luckily, you have that choice, you know.
Yeah. So,
open those books up.
Yeah. Start, and then, you know, hit everybody up and like, hey, I'm in the shop. You know, started scheduling those 2 weeks, and then those 2 weeks I made more than I would have all month working at the warehouse.
That's when you know.
So then I was like, oh yeah. And then like I said, the quality of life. I'd be able to wake up and have coffee with my wife in the morning and
make your own schedule.
Yeah,
that shop don't open early.
Spend time with the kids, take them to school.
Yeah,
you know, come home, have coffee with my wife, and you know, hang out for a little while. Then go to the shop, tattoo, come home for dinner. You know,
chill. That's it. That's the night.
And made more money than
Yeah.
I would have all month at the warehouse.
Mhm.
So then I was
Doing something you
Where's
love.
where's the downside?
yeah. So
Yeah.
then I was like, all right, this is it. This
You're
is what we got to do.
There's no sick time and no health care in tattooing. That's the
Yeah.
downside, but you figure that out
True.
later.
Yeah,
you know?
you have to figure that out.
You have no
figure that out,
choice.
I figured it out. I just pay a shitload of money every month for health insurance now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Vitamin C. Hope you don't get sick.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the 2 week, you open it up, you kill it, makes a month's salary 2 weeks. And then how does that change your mindset going back when that strike lives?
So then, remember I told you I used to just be like, never had any kind of timeline, never set any timeline, never set any goals, anything like that. Now I'm like, okay, we signed a 5-year contract, and I was like, I'm not going to work at this warehouse by the next contract. I'm not going to go through this again.
You know, 5 years, figure it out.
Yeah. That 5 years turned it into, okay, I won't work in this warehouse any of 2018. By the end of 2017, I'm going to be ready to quit, and I'll be good to go.
That's huge.
And then that date kept getting moved up and moved up and moved up till finally, like, it was the end of 2016. And, my wife had told me, she's like, why not now? She's like, you're ready. Like, you need to quit, She's like, you're ready. She's like, I don't know what you're waiting for. And when you were talking about the vision board, I had made a vision board and I put on there, if not now, when?
That's huge, yeah.
Fill it
Yeah.
with quotes, stuff like that. And that's what she hit me with that one. She's like, if not now, when? She's like, when you... She's
You're
like,
fuck.
yeah. That's what I was like, damn. I was like, all right. I was like, just give me a minute, I was like, I'm going to do it, but just... I was like, let me chill out here for a little while, and I was, it was a big leap. Like I told you, I was.
It's a leap of faith.
Yeah, and I was scared, bro. Like,
And I mean, your leap is so different than like mine or David's really
Yeah.
too, because you have
You have the
family.
yeah, and
riding on
yeah,
it.
I was
I made the leap. It was just me. Who gives a shit? I go
sole
work.
income.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to, I didn't want to lose the house or any of the other stuff that we had worked for.
Yeah.
And so we did. I was like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And I didn't put no 2 weeks in, nothing like that. You
just didn't show up?
No, I went to work.
Oh.
This is earlier in the week. Went to work and I was like, and before I had asked him what the process was of quitting.
Yeah. I mean, you'd been there so long.
Yeah. So I was trying to remember, but I had asked him what the process was, and then I went to work that next day, and I was like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Like, go ahead and start bringing all the paperwork and
Yeah, put in the 2 weeks, letter of resignation, whatever.
The letter of resignation and all that stuff. And she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna let management know that you're putting your 2 weeks in. I was like, no, I'm not putting my 2 weeks in. I was like,
That's it.
Friday's my last day. I was like, I'm gonna finish off this work week. And then
You guys
and
can
then
figure
that's
out
it.
the rest.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And she was like, oh, are you serious? She's like, if you quit, if you don't put your 2 weeks in, then you're not eligible for rehire, And I told her, I was like, if I'm thinking about getting rehired, then like I have no business on quitting today.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And she kind of stepped back. She was like, oh,
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, so I did, and it was big, bro. It's
huge.
Because
that last day leaving the warehouse, pulling out of the parking lot, it's different. Yeah.
It did. It really did. And, then started in 2017 fresh.
January 1.
Yeah. Started taking appointments, and, I was excited. And I was excited to be a tattoo artist, full-time tattoo artist. It was like, felt like I went pro. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, you're big leagues.
Yeah. And then
you're in a good shop, good peers around you.
Yeah.
At that time.
This time I'm in
I was gonna say because I don't think that shop was there at that time.
Yeah.
So now you're at Embellished.
Yeah, I joined Embellished, and I worked there.
Still surrounded by talent. Always surround yourself with people better than you. you know?
Yeah, exactly.
That's huge.
And even those guys, they like that's stuff you don't get taught of how to run your career. You don't get taught that in your apprenticeship. You kind of got to figure it out as you're going. So
like, what's your bookkeeping method? What's your, how do you handle this money? All this stuff.
Yeah, that's what the big Instagram and these tattoo conventions that we go to. It's big because then we're able to meet, meet everybody.
The best
and
of the best.
How do you guys do that? How do you do this?
Are you using Honeybook? You use the square. What are you doing?
Yeah. And I always try to talk to the guys that have families, and because
those are the ones.
Yeah,
they're more diligent.
Yep, they have. They're able to balance.
Yeah.
Everything. I was like, how do you balance this shit, bro? Like, your
phone doesn't stop.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's a struggle. Like my family, they've sacrificed so much.
Yeah,
my wife
comes down to that good support system. Like you said, your wife, she's rode with you through this whole thing and essentially made you do that leap, which, who knows where you'd be if she didn't push you that day. You know what I mean? To really
for real
focus on that vision board.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, and like I heard somebody say like the career suffers last. And that's true, bro, because I've seen my family just sacrifice so much, and I was always gone. And now I'm able to be around all the time.
Pick and choose your schedule.
Yeah, make my own schedule and be there.
Set up travel a year in advance.
Yeah.
You know what conventions you're hitting.
Yeah.
You know where you're going to be at. So you're in the swing of things full time. Was there any hiccups along the way? I'm sure there's little hiccups all the time, but or has it been steady full books since?
Yeah. No, I'll say the hiccup was.
I mean, COVID.
Yeah. That was actually a blessing, bro.
Really?
Like
Just to
I'm
slow down.
So thankful for COVID. Like just being able to take that break because when I came back stronger, better, and more focused. Everything.
That's huge.
But
it was such a peaceful time in my life, to be
yeah,
honest.
exactly, bro.
It was great. I'd wake up, me and my wife would take the dogs across the street, go walk every day, and it was like a good reset.
Yeah, it was.
If you had set yourself up before COVID and you didn't have to worry about money and the situations that came along with COVID, obviously it was a little stressful for a lot of people, but if you were set up good, it was. A lot of people say it's like some peaceful ass 6 weeks. For sure.
Yeah, it really was. Like, even okay. So like the other hiccup I say was that when I went full time, I was so focused on not failing,
Of course.
and making sure that we, always had the money coming in, and I was always working. So then I start overworking myself, and I'm working round the clock, bro, and accommodating to anybody's schedule.
Oh, hell no.
Whenever I start scheduling, like Saturdays and Sundays booked first. They're like, well, I'm off weekends.
You're like, okay, perfect.
Yeah. So then before you know it, then I look at my book and I'm like, damn, I don't have a day off for
6 months.
Weeks.
Yeah, 6 weeks, 6 months.
Not a day off, bro. Like none. And so end up getting back to where I'm just on the slave meal again, chasing the dollar again. And I was like, damn, like, why did you even quit the warehouse if you're just gonna
do the same
thing? Yeah,
I mean, more money, obviously, but it's I get it.
Yeah. It goes back to the same quality of life. I'm just in the shop and I'm doing tattoos that I don't want to do. So then I'm like
dealing with clients you don't want to deal with. That's a big part too.
Yep. And so then did some analyzing again, and I was like, okay, well, like, oh no, I read it was called Sell or Be Sold, Grant Cardone.
Oh yeah.
I read his book, and it was called Sell or Be Sold. Another thing, and one of the things that I took from that book was he said that you need to really believe in the product, and so I was like, damn, like I'm putting tattoos on people that I don't care for the tattoo, like, so like that's not believing in it. I need to do stuff that I believe in, like, so then it became a thing where like I'm only going to do stuff that I would put on myself or my my family, my kids, something like that.
Absolutely.
Like, stuff that I really I liked. And so then that's when I quit doing color. I finished up all the books that had and then I was like, from this point on, I'm no more color.
That's a huge step.
Yeah.
From a creative, saying no is, you're essentially turning down money at that point,
That's
and that's a scary thing to grasp.
Yeah.
But once you do that, the things that you do enjoy doing filter straight towards you.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, this dude only does black and gray.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that.
like
That's perfect.
Yeah.
You become
So-
that guy.
So if I'm booked with something color that day, you know, I can't do black and gray that day. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just swapping stuff out, you know? And even when I was going to quit my job, you know, like I would only do larger pieces on my days off. And that's what I really liked doing was the big pieces. You know, not just
not
little walk-in bangers. You know? I didn't like doing.
I have this little spot here. Can we put something here?
Yeah. And my friend Drew, when I did my very first convention, he had took me to. Drew's one of the owners at Greyscale with us too.
Okay.
You know, he's another guy. So shout out to him. And he took me on my first convention, and that was another inspirational moment that made me had to quit. You know, made me know that I had to quit my job and you know, tattoo full time, because we went out to New Jersey, and they, you know, it's like right by New York, so you see the city, and you know, it was for my first time out there. So I'm like,
it's culture shock.
and I was like, oh man, like,
you're a Cali boy. This East Coast is different.
I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. You know, so that was another big moment where I was like, this is it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, tattooing is what I'm gonna do.
What was that pivotal piece because, you know, if anybody looks at your work, they see the quality you put out in that style. What was that piece that you were like, man, this is the one, and every piece from that has been, you know, that next level? Was there a certain one? Or
no, I think when I started getting into like portraits and stuff, like people were like, that's when I was getting a lot of you know, people liking that, and you know, getting a lot of praise for the portraits that I was.
That's
that
huge.
I do. Yeah,
that's a terrifying thing to get as a customer, and I'm sure it's, you know, keeps you on edge. You know, you're the one who's doing it.
Yeah, so
one cleft lip and that's it. You
know?
Yeah.
There's been times where I thought I've, you know, like any little mess up that you do in the picture, you could really
alter that total vibe.
You
know,
give somebody a lazy eye so fast.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't even. You don't even. Yeah,
you don't even know. Yeah.
You can't just erase it.
Yeah. Even when I take on my reference photos, you know, somebody send me something and they're like, you know, this is what I want to get. And I was like, oh, that's not really a good.
That's not a good photo. Do you have another one?
Yeah. So then I was like, get together a bunch of them, and then we could go through and pick the best one.
I think what a lot of people don't realize is contrast is a big part of black and gray, and you know, where the light is coming in. If it's flat lit, that does nothing for you. There's no dimension to that, you know. Same thing with me, you know, a lot of photographers who just start out don't realize shaping light is what makes a good photo.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you know, the good light fall off, you know, tungsten lighting, you know, the triangle by the nose, you know, all that stuff. You guys have to know that. Where's the light source?
Still learning it, bro. Still,
it's crazy.
Yeah, still learning it. You know, and still trying to get better, like
catch lights in eyes, all that stuff.
Even pieces that I put together to this day, like I'll do one and work all day on it, and then I'll see it. You know, after we get done, we take pictures, we take videos, and I'm like, damn it. You know? And I'll still post it. And,
no, of course, you
know.
Still proud of it. Still.
Yeah, but then I know to myself, I'm going to be like, all right, next time this guy comes in, I'm going to do this and fix it up. Because it's not like stuff that it's bad.
It didn't. It wasn't a deal breaker thing.
Probably something that they wouldn't even notice. It's just you have the eye for it,
no, for
I
sure.
think.
Yeah. But as far as like the pivotal piece, so I had already made up my mind that I was gonna do black and gray, you know, and I started taking
realism.
And I'm still doing, like, I don't know, I'm not doing color, but it still wasn't realism, you know, like some of the pieces that I would take on, they're like, oh, you said you're only doing black and gray. Well, this piece is black and gray. Like, you do it for me. Like, you know, and I have a hard time saying no to everybody.
It's tough.
So
it gets easier as you go.
Oh, it is. It's getting
a lot easier. It's my favorite thing to tell people.
But the big change in my career was when I got tattooed in Albuquerque at the New Mexico Tattoo Fiesta that goes on down there. It's in July every year. It's my favorite show to go to. Favorite vibe, everything about it, bro.
I'm sure,
it's the best show, you know. Shout out to those guys that put that on, Por Vida Tattoo in Albuquerque. those are my boys that put that one on. But I got tattooed there by this guy's name's A.B. Alvarez, and he was, one of the guys that I looked up to his work since I had started. I think even since like MySpace.
Oh wow, yeah. So you've been a long time fan of that.
Yeah. So I finally got tattooed by him. He did my mom's portrait, and then he just like getting tattooed by him. He gave me so much game and his technique, everything, and he'll be the first to admit that he's like not the originator of that, and he's like, he don't like
doesn't claim to be a pioneer.
But he
perfected it.
Exactly, and he teaches people, and when he taught me that day, like I paid for the lesson and got the tattoo for free. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. Yeah,
that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and ever since then, bro, like even if people were telling me like, damn, bro, ever since New Mexico, you've been killing it now.
See, that's huge.
So it was like an eye opener.
Just flip the switch.
Yeah. And that was that first year that I was full time.
Okay, that's huge.
2017.
I was gonna say because you haven't been at it that long full time.
Yeah.
Realistically speaking.
Yeah.
That's
so.
Even I don't know. I sometimes think that like the timing was always right. I'm always on the right path.
Yeah.
Because who knows if I would have started tattooing instead of having clippers when I was young, I would have done like 10, 15 years of shitty tattoos.
Exactly.
And before I finally started getting good, because now I starting to get good now and changing up. Okay, so I'm putting on good pieces then, able to do a good tattoo. There's so much more to it, There's like you said, you got to think of the contrast and the flow of it, the composition,
absolutely,
all that stuff. So
and even outside of the art form, now you're a shop owner too. So you have a whole new job title of business owner too to
you have to worry about
all that
is there
stuff.
Toilet paper in the bathroom, like weird stuff like that. You got to really worry about finances. Finding a space, office space is not cheap. These leases are waxing and taxing on these prices, so it's just insane. So you're progressing now. What's the next pivotal moment? Are you working with ideal clients, I'm assuming, and then
so then, getting, so doing pretty good, and even, because, this is like 2017, then I that's when he kind of showed me how to, like, even take on your reference photos, and, this stuff, small stuff you don't even really think about.
Now, are you hand drawing at this time, I'm assuming, on transfer paper, or are you using? Have you made that switch to
the iPad?
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say most people have made that switch to Procreate. And,
so
really start layering and taking things to an even crazier level. With that pre-production.
Didn't really start happening until a couple of years ago when like I would hand press all my stencils still.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was doing that still for a long time. Even after I had an iPad, I would still print it out and then hand press it, just because that's what I was comfortable with, But then I think I did a portrait. It was a bad photo. It kept printing bad. So I was like, I'm just going to have to print the stencil and then run it through the stencil machine. So then I did that, and then it came out really good, and I was able to get all the detail in, and I was like,
whoa, this is dope.
Yeah.
This is a lot less work.
Yeah. So then that's kind of made and able to start fine-tuning everything. But
so when did you get your own shop? Like, how was that transition come about?
That was last year.
I was going to say it had to have been recently.
Yeah, and it was Chris Sandoval. He's he's the other third owner at the shop. Me and him had always wanted to open a spot together. Because just me and him vibe just like so effortlessly.
That's a big part of it.
Yeah, and we're boys, so like shout out to him, Chris Sandoval Art on Instagram. We had always talked about it, but it was never nothing like
serious.
Where we needed to, because like we were happy at Embellished, and happy with the homies that we worked with there, everything, but it's just the next step. That's what we wanted.
That's the goal.
So we. I had told Brian that I was gonna, I was like, oh, eventually gonna get my own shop one of these days, but no, not in a hurry to. And then when the spot opened up, then we're like, oh, can't pass on this.
Yeah.
This is the one that we wanted. Me and Chris were talking about, so like we got to do it. And at the time, Drew was opening his own, or he was gonna open up a studio, and then I don't know, stuff had fell through with that, and then so he needed. Or not really needed a place to go, but he was thinking about looking for his own spot. We're like, well, let's just get one together, and that's kind of how we did it.
That's awesome.
It was, and then
keep it simple.
Yeah, and it's easy, bro. Everything, it's already been over a year. And everything.
Like if there was issues, it would have presented itself by now.
It really would have, and we have such good communication between us three too.
That's a big part of it. Yeah, for sure.
That it really is, because. You can't let anything like fester or build up.
No,
then you start.
Then when the toilet paper does run out of the bathroom, then it's a big deal.
Yeah. And the shop's coming down.
No, that's all I ever do is I'm buying toilet paper for this damn place.
I just think it's funny how I'm the only one who buys paper towels. No, that's good. The communication and the camaraderie is absolutely
we
pivotal.
split everything 3 ways.
That's easy.
It's just easy.
No, for sure.
We all get along. Like our vibe there at the shop is just.
That's great. There's no outsiders. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really
which
is. Like
keeps it tight.
We have a 4th booth in there, and it took us forever to.
Find someone.
Because we're just like, no, we can't just fill it with anybody. Cause we don't want to throw what we got here off,
No, exactly, they've got to fit the mold, and which is good. It comes back to that customer experience. I want to feel like I'm walking into somewhere that's positive. Yeah, you know what I mean.
And people, like I said, love to get tattooed there. That's what we want. That's what we want to create.
Yeah, I mean, kind of sucks because I'm sure you have lingers. People who might want to come and just kick it.
Oh no, that's cool too.
Yeah,
if you want,
I was going to say it gets a little weird. Yeah, I know.
No, like you want to come by and hang out and chop it up with us and bullshit.
Yeah.
Anybody's more than welcome to.
No, that's cool.
That's come in there.
Almost like a barbershop vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it really is. Like I said before this, when we were talking, like we could, if we were able to do a podcast in there, it'd be pretty entertaining.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I'm sure it'd be.
But then sometimes there is those days where we're just all quiet and everybody's just in their zone.
And that's cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's huge.
Yeah.
So recently you had an opportunity to, tattoo some pretty pivotal people, some pretty interesting players.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So how did that happen?
Oh.
Or you can tell people what happened,
Yeah. So, he's my friend now. Jonathan Abram, he plays for the safety for the Raiders. He posted a picture of him tattooing himself on Instagram, and I followed him because I'm a big Raider fan, and seen him doing that, and I was like, not even thinking, I just messaged him. I was like, bro, what are you doing? And I was like, you should let me do that for you, bro. Like, I was like, you should let me lace you up, G. I told him that, and then he messaged me back right away, and he was like, well, what's good then?
You're I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, I looked at my phone, and I was like, damn, he really messaged me back. So then we just started talking on, just through Instagram. And he was like, I was like, well, what do you want to get? And he's like, I want to get my whole back done. And I was like,
even better.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is around this time last year. And I was like, well, I don't know, I don't know what your schedule's like, what your off-season schedule's like. I was like, what does it look like? And he's like, well, can you come next week? And I was like, damn,
yeah, for sure.
I had to.
So you can pull out the books and you're like, hey, something came up. Can we totally reschedule?
No, luckily I had that whole next week off because I was going to start a remodel on our bathroom.
Fuck that bathroom.
Yeah, no, that got hired out. Yeah, so then I'm
going to hire somebody for that now.
Yeah, so then he flew me out there, got me a room and everything. And
that's huge.
And we just hung out and did his back, Came back and I was like, damn, that shit really happened. I tattooed him, and then another friend, or who is another friend now, is Farad Green. He plays for the Colts, and tattooed them that time because they went to college together at Mississippi State, and they were just hanging out together and just wanted to get tatted. So it was just kind of just hanging out at his house and tattooing him.
That's insane.
Yeah, and then it just went on from there. Like
the rest of the team.
Yeah, I got plugged in with like not even just the team, just like other homies from other teams, because this is like a big network. Like anything else, bro. Like
Yeah.
is a real
All about networking.
Yeah,
Who you know.
real big perspective change
Mm-hmm.
on the league when I got seeing.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What's really going on?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, and
Damn.
yeah. So yeah, that's been pretty cool, and that was it's exciting to get to this level.
Mm-hmm.
When you're getting into the athletes and celebrities and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
'Cause, like
That just proves it to yourself.
there's different levels of like your clientele.
Mm-hmm.
You get to where you're just doing walk-ins,
Mm-hmm.
like when I was on Santa Fe, just doing the walk-ins, and then other people are like, hey, let me do this piece on you. You're trying to get clients.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get to another point where you're like starting to get known for a certain thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to do that. Then you get, you start mastering that. Then you get to like this level, the
Mm-hmm.
athletes and celebrities, and then
That's-
this is a grind for a little while now too. But then there's like the upper echelon, and that's like where you're doing collectors.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
People
worldwide.
That's interesting. I was going to say,
yeah.
what's next?
Yeah,
but tattoo collectors?
Yeah.
Okay, so people who only want this specific person.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
and they do their research, and they're all out there. And I've got to tattoo a couple, people that, and they're just like, they're homies and shit. But then there's like some big collectors that throw down big bread.
Yeah.
And they're like,
It's like an NFT.
Right.
Yeah.
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 The skin
Like
NFTs.
legit
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
yeah,
That's
and,
insane.
They're even known. They're even well known in the community.
As a client,
Yeah.
they're well known.
So it's
Wow.
like you get up on one of these guys like that, then that's like prestigious. You know
That's
what I mean?
huge. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're on there with other names,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like
Damn.
that's like the best feeling. Like
That's
you're
your
getting-
Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
you're getting
Yeah.
respected. In the community.
That's huge.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah. So
No, that's super
the-
awesome.
Yeah, where people from around the world are flying in. That's like that's
Especially for your style.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good feeling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anything, where people outside of your immediate network are, willing to make sacrifices to have your service,
Yeah.
and your artwork on them. That's, a lot of people I don't know when that clicks, but that shit's for life. You
Yeah.
know, like that's why there's no way I could do anything like that.
Yeah.
Like if I fuck up a photo shoot, more than likely I could probably fix it,
Yeah.
but unless it's like a wedding, but I don't do those. So yeah, like most things can be fixed, but with you, that permanency is there.
And they want like bodysuits and stuff like that.
It's like, how do I design that?
Whole
Yeah.
leg sleeve, and so that's what I'm working on now. Is like working on my composition and how to just
make things flow.
Yeah, and be able to look at that leg or that arm or the back, from any different angle, be able to read it from across the room, and be able to have my mark on it and be like, oh yeah, like Dan did that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And
I
stuff like that.
can already see it when people post a photo, and I'm like, I look at the picture, and I'm like, I bet you, and I scroll down, and it's like, yep,
Yeah.
I knew it,
Yeah, see,
and
so-
same thing with photography. That's my goal.
Yeah.
Is that's David.
Yeah.
That's his work.
Yeah.
That's super awesome. So looking forward, what are some of these new goals? I know it's scary to put it out there because they always come true, but what are some of your new goals?
Now, I think like I have some goals and some stuff that I want to do, but I don't want to put everything out there.
No, for sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
whatever
I
you're
still-
comfortable putting out. Yeah.
Yeah, but like right now, I'm really still just trying to streamline my booking process.
Nice.
And I'm gonna do a website. But
the easiest way.
I want to get me a nice camera and everything. So I've been looking into that, so
Nice.
I could take some like really nice photos.
Absolutely.
And be able to post those ones on my
Quality.
Yeah, on my website, and then just educate people on how to book with me. You
Huge.
know, that would be the
Absolutely.
biggest thing on there. Like I said, just streamline the booking
The process.
process. Yeah, because right now the way I book things is I do 3 months at a time. Open my books, and then
First quarter, second quarter.
Yeah, book 3 months out, and then close them again. But some people, they just the first time they're hitting me up is on that first one I'm booking, and they're like, well, this is what I want and this is what I want to get, and I'm like, oh, you have to come in for a consultation before we could even schedule this, So it's kind of hard. I'm still figuring everything out.
No, of course.
So now the next time I'll be booking is June 1st, and that'll be for July, August, September. And so anybody that wants to get on that books, stop by the shop, do a consultation, anytime before then, so we could have everything all talked about and
just set the date.
Yeah, so then when the first comes and the book's open, and I know everything that I got going on for the next 3 months as far as like my family schedules and stuff, and what days I will be tattooing in town, then I'm able to schedule all those, and then those those people will be able to just like hit me up, that day. They're like, hey, this is so and so. We talked about doing this. Like, okay, I got this day for you. That works. So here's the deposit.
Cool.
Done.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like that. So
that's huge.
Yeah. So this has been the biggest struggle, is just learning how to schedule, because you need to, like, if you want to do those, like I said, you want to get to that level and get to, you're doing big projects, stuff like that. You need to be able to know how to schedule that. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Damn. No, that's huge, and I think that'll help you as a business owner. And on the other end, the customer experience again, really improves for people. Especially those collectors.
Yeah. You get that's the point that I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, my scheduling sucks too. It's difficult right now. I started making a website, and then I was like, hey, it's the middle of tax season, so kind of scratched that idea until May.
No,
but
sure.
It's a game changer if you get it together.
It was one of my pivotal moments when I switched my bookkeeping to online, and people can self-service it. That changed everything for me.
Yeah.
It reduced the amount of time back and forth on Instagram DMs and stuff like that. I'm really good about not messaging people back after 7 p.m. Like, I'm not even going to open it. If I fuck up and open it, then I'm committed.
Yeah.
Because I will forget. But switching it to an online service, that made it a lot easier, and backing up those calendars as well. Because if technology fails and let's say Square is down or whatever, you still need a backup to know what the hell's going on. So we could talk about that later for sure.
Yeah,
but
that's where I screw up a lot at. Is just like answering people back when it's supposed to be family time.
It's
what
tough.
I mean? And
it's hard to draw that line.
And then sometimes some people will be hitting me up with some where they throw off my whole energy and my whole my whole mood, and then my wife reads it, my kids read it, they read it on me, they read it on my face, and it's then I'm not present anymore, and then it's just like
it's not good all the way around.
Really, really not. So you got to be able to set those boundaries and know how to follow them.
Holding yourself accountable, whether that means a separate phone, like Brad is 2-phone gang, but whatever it looks like, and whatever works for you. What works for me might not work for you.
Yeah.
But, it's just fine tuning it and then asking other people around you. I asked every photographer I came into contact with, hey, I saw you had an online website. How do you do X, Y, and Z? Oh, you built it? All right, never mind. But it's huge asking those questions. But we do have a reoccurring question on the show as well. So you ready for it? It's a big one.
Oh, yeah.
What do you want your lasting legacy to be? Something that outlives you and your tattoos. What do you...
let's see. I think I put something in my
a little cheat sheet.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, just really just to inspire people,
Absolutely.
And that's it's kind of hard for me. I know we didn't get all the points across on my story. Is like it's kind of tough, but like as far as just I want to be able to inspire somebody to be like, hey, I did the 9 to 5 thing too, and then I was inspired to quit, and chase my dreams, and not just anybody, but even like for my kids too.
Absolutely.
Like I want to, I guess just inspire people. That's just to embrace their obstacles and go through them like that. Like that was a big thing that I had was my family. I looked at it as like an obstacle. It's like, oh yeah, you got to give up your dreams so your kids could have them. I had that kind of mindset, and I was like, no, I got to show my kids that you could you could still achieve your dreams, with kids, and so kind of my whole mindset changed, that's what I would like to leave with people is just, is inspiration, really.
No, that's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree that, the inspiration and, chase those dreams. Don't be afraid to make that jump to pursue your passion. Don't, when you're working that 9 to 5, you're fueling somebody else's dreams.
Yeah.
That was a pivotal one for me,
Yeah.
But once you make that jump and you start pursuing your own dreams, the whole perspective changes. I'm sure getting older,
mindset,
obviously it seems like as you got older, your mindset constantly changed.
Yeah.
What's important becomes more relevant.
I probably wouldn't even liked myself 5 years ago. Who
for sure,
even 5-6 years ago, like even people always want to tell me like, oh yeah, you changed, bro. But
Good.
like it's just growth.
No, that's the point.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, it really
Who wants to
is.
stay the same? Nobody.
Yeah.
You always have to evolve.
Yeah. So, the lasting legacy, like, of course I want to. I just. Want to build wealth and all that stuff.
Course,
I got ideas of how I'm going to do it, but it's not really all about making money. It's just really about being happy. Trying to get other people to be happy. Like, you don't have to do, if you don't want to do that job, then you don't have to. You're not stuck there. A lot of people want to feel like they're just stuck in one place. And I was like that.
Exactly.
I was one of those people. That's how I know. Like you could shift that mindset and, just
achieve your
change your life, man.
That's huge. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Change your change your mindset, people, for sure. But I want to thank you again for coming on. It's a great story. We might have to have a part 2 for sure.
Oh yeah, I could go on for
this time in your neck of the woods.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I think people really need to hear it. It was, one of my personal goals for this podcast is to motivate people to jump out of their 9 to 5s and hear, the same stories of other people who might be going through what they're going through right now.
Yeah.
And really make that jump and know that it's okay.
Yeah, I know we were short on time, but if you want to hear the whole story, you got to get tattooed, because then we got like 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah,
exactly. Big pieces only, baby.
Yeah, no, for real.
VIP podcast.
Yeah.
That's huge. Well, thank you again. This has been the Lasting Legacy Podcast. Check us out every week wherever you get your podcasts. Links for all of him will be in the description box below. Good night.